Welcome to the Total Connector Show. Happy New Year. Can you guys hear me? This is the Total Connector Show. Yeah, you can hear me. All right. So let's get into, some serious stuff for now. Let's get it behind us. As you might have heard, Iran has started retaliating, taking revenge for the murder, assassination of Soleimani, the top general of the Iran military. So let me just show you some stuff over here. All right. So this is an article of Veterans Today. It says Iran bombards Al Assad air base, puts Israel, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Jordan on notice. It says here, it's an article by Gordon Duff. He's a pretty, investigative journalist from Veterans Today, very, highly connected to intelligence sources. So you can look it up yourself, but definitely very investigatively and credible, serious. Veterans Today hopes no Americans are hurt in this extremely justified retaliatory attack against the cowardly actions of the American military stationed at this base. The IRGC, the Iranian, Revolution Guard, whatever military unit, also warned all U.S. allies in the region that they will be targeted if any aggressive action is undertaken from the territory, putting Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Israel on notice. So at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 13 ballistic missiles have hit Al-Assad as Patriot batteries installed in May fail. 30 Iranian-guided missiles have so far hit Al-Assad air base in Iraq, home of the United States Air Force and largest base in Iraq. The U.S. deployed multiple batteries of Patriot missiles to the base in May in case of such an attack. And then it goes on, as of 6:20 p.m. Eastern Time, the U.S. acknowledged that 6 Iranian missiles have hit the base and none thus far have been successfully intercepted. More to come. Under missile attack from Iran, confirmed by CNN, under missile attack from Iran, these are either cruise missiles or short-range ballistic missiles all over the country, said a senior U.S. military source stationed in Iraq. So, yeah. And then it says here, this morning, courageous fighters of the IRGC's Air Force launched a successful operation called Operation Martyr Soleimani with the code OZARA by firing tens of ground-to-ground missiles at the base of the terrorist invasive U.S. forces, the country's state-run news outlet ISNA reported. A U.S. official confirms to ABC News that ballistic missiles have been fired from inside Iran at multiple U.S. military facilities inside Iraq on Wednesday morning, local time. The facilities include Erbil in northern Iraq and Al-Assad in Air Base Western Iraq. The official said, "We are aware of the reports of attacks on U.S. facilities in Iraq." According to a statement from White House Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham, the president has been briefed and is monitoring the situation closely and consulting with his national security team. So you can check out the article itself. It's on veteranstoday.com as of yesterday, I believe. The article was published yesterday on January 7th. Here's another one. Trump tweets, "All is well," after Iran fires missile at 2 air bases in Iraq. And then it says, President Trump, missile launched from Iran at 2 military bases located in Iraq. Assessment of casualties and damages taking place now. So far, so good. We have the most powerful and well-equipped military anywhere in the world by far. I will be making a statement tomorrow morning. Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif has tweeted, the article is, by the way, on zerohedge.com. Iran took and concluded proportionate measures in self-defense under Article 51 of UN Charter, targeting base from which cowardly armed attack against our citizens and senior officials were launched. All right, so you can read that for yourself for the details. Yeah, this is really unfortunate, truly sad, and all we gotta ask ourselves now, are we desiring war, or should I say the final World War III, the final World War, or are we really crying for and hoping for and wishing for and praying for and really desiring for world peace? Let me show you some other stuff over here. Yeah, that's a BBC article on bbc.com. Iran attack, US troops targeted with ballistic missiles. Now, whether the plane crash that just occurred today is coincidental, sort of, or not, the Boeing, the Ukrainian Boeing airline plane crash in Parant. I mean, it looks like a ball of fire, with all, unfortunately, really bless their soul, but they all died. I'm not sure how many for now. 180 passengers on board. They all died, I assume. And we don't know the cause. We don't know what happened. So whether this is sort of a coincidence, I really don't know. Whether that is a technical serial construction and production mistake and grossly negligent, if not even almost intentional by Boeing, as you've heard. You know, the Boeing's which one is it? I think Boeing 757 or 747. I'm not sure which one that is. Has had, multiple serial problems, crashes, all sorts of problems. So because they were, the CEOs and the management of Boeing were all occupied buying back stocks instead of diverting funds and resources into the development, into the reparation, into the fixing of the really severe problems which Boeing has had. So who knows? Maybe it was maybe it was a false flag operation. We don't know. We still don't know, because there hasn't been any reports on who is being in suspicion. All right. So, what else do we have? The Bitcoin price has surged. Oil has surged. The only thing that have at least temporarily plummeted or plunged are the bond yields and stocks. Of course, that is not a coincidence with the as we would call it, the geopolitical tensions or crisis or really tragedy and is going on. And then it says here on Zero Hedge, Ukrainian whistleblower reveals MH17 tragedy was orchestrated by Poroshenko and British Secret Service. But that's another. Yeah, that was that's a totally different story, I guess. Yeah, that was that was the plane that was crashed a long time ago. So let's see what else do we have? No survivors on a Ukrainian jetliner that crashed shortly after takeoff from Tehran's main airport with at least 170, I think it was 180 people on board. Yeah, we're really sad. This is it was a Boeing 737. Yeah. So, yeah, this is really tragic, really sad, and we hope that I hope that this is not going to escalate to a full-blown war in the Middle East, let alone our nuclear war, because as you know, we do have so many nuclear bombs. There's so many nuclear bombs and hydrogen bombs on this planet by the military-industrial complex everywhere on this planet that we could literally pulverize the Earth multiple times. And that's not me saying this. These are experts saying so. Please, let us appeal. Let us solve these problems by tackling these problems. By not looking at the symptoms, but by looking at the huge elephant in the room, and these are the central banks, in collusion with the governments, with the military, industrial, corporate, intelligence complex that is, steering these things. They're directing these things, and doing all kinds of false flag operations, funding all sides when it comes to war. This is how you propagate everything. This is how it's always been in human history, especially in military history, especially in the last 100 years or so. If they want to start a war, they will find any kind of excuse, or they will create an excuse. And you can think of any kind of false flag operation, terrorist attacks. Not all of them, of course, but most of them. If you look back to Vietnam, World War II, Pearl Harbor, so either you let it happen or you create a false flag incident, and then blame it on others, on other nations, countries, whatever, terrorist groups, governments, what have you. So here it says again, markets in turmoil, gold and oil spike as stocks, bond yields plunge after Iran attack. Yeah, so I'm not sure what's going to happen, to be honest with you. There's a bunch of really good well-researched, investigatively researched articles, such as from Michael Krieger or on Veterans Today. Let me see, it's called libertyblitzkrieg.com is their website, and it says Another Stupid War, posted on January 7, 2020 by Michael Krieger. The guy is pretty cool, really well researched and really well written, so you can check it out for yourself. libertyblitzkrieg.com by Michael Krieger. Yeah, so what else do we have? Bitcoin has surged in price, maybe even due to the escalations and crisis, geopolitical crisis, and real pending war. I mean, if this thing goes off, we have a war. We have a huge war, and this will not be limited to the Middle East. I can tell you that, because the only hope I have, which I want to still, say that before I forget, is that, as you remember, many years ago, Iran intercepted or captured, the high-tech U.S. drones. Always, on a specific day, some kind of, Iranian whatever anniversary of the Islamic Republic, blah blah. I'm not a fan of any kind of government, nation state, let alone theocratic religious regimes or whatsoever. So I think we need to go to the root causes, back to the science, back to the ethos, back to the peace, back to the principles of humanity. But anyway, so going back to my insertion here is that, as you remember, many years ago, Iran captured a highly developed, highly advanced U.S. drone without a scratch, and without having even the possibility that to to have the U.S. High-tech drone or spy plane detonate itself. Usually, they have the mechanism inside. Anything that comes close to it or is imminent threat, the thing just blows up. But the thing just got captured, and there have been a series of articles, especially about Veterans Today, investigative journalists. So it was not a one-time incident, but that was the most prominent incident, because the Iranian military captured it, brought it on the ground without a scratch. We don't know. We don't. There's no video of it, so there's only really credible, scientifically explained theories how they could have done that. And I don't know how long it took them. Maybe a few years, maybe a few months, maybe a couple. I'm not sure, but they replicated sort of as a power demonstration, as a show proof that they can do the same. They replicated they did the exact replica of that high-tech drone, which, by the way, Obama, when the thing got captured, Obama got on the press conference and said, we want to have our toy back. So anyway, Iran has this technology, whatever it's called, anti-gravity technology, magnetic gravitational field technology, plasma technology. But anyway, someone somewhere, somehow, a group of really highly skilled, highly intelligent, highly sophisticated, creative, and scientific, technological developed people in Iran. I would say it's a number. I would say, if I put a number, I guess it's about 100,000 people in Iran, within the sort of governmental military industrial complex of Iran, all underground, I guess. They've been developing this, like the US has been doing this, for many decades, where all the trillions have been pouring in. So I'm not saying Iran only has this technology, but they're very advanced when it comes to this, I would call it peaceful defense technology, because they haven't attacked anybody, with this kind of technology. But this could, my hope is that this technology, as the Russians also have this technology, as you remember, then somewhere in between those years or after that incident in Iran where the high-tech drone was captured, the Russians deactivated or made obsolete the whole electronics of the U.S. aircraft carrier, the huge aircraft carrier in where was that, in the Black Seas or something like that, and the ship was totally dysfunctional. It had to be towed away. And there is, beautiful, really investigative, awesome articles on that, where it was reported that approximately 30 to 50 officers resigned from that ship. So how they did it, again, the Russians, we don't know. We weren't there. There are no, they're just, again, scientifically based, technologically based explanations. People who know their stuff, and they say either it was, with two or three planes, again with you call it, if you want to call it electromagnetic field strength or electromagnetic energy, but it's a little bit more than that, because the whole ship would have to be rewired in order to make it functional again. So why am I saying this? Is that my only hope is that it doesn't, escalate. Maybe they're going to shoot some rockets back and forth and blah blah, like really limited geographically, geopolitically, like really limit the crisis, the tensions, confine it to a very small space within the Middle East or whatever, or Iran. But I'm hoping if it escalates in the military-industrial complex, and I don't have to name the country, but who those countries are and their intelligence operations, be it United States, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and some others. So if they do start a war and full blown, then my only hope, only realistic hope, is the technology that Iran has, in conjunction of or parallel to the technology that the Russians have, with its identical or similar, it doesn't matter, but the effect is the same. What is possible with this technology is to make every conventional weapon, every conventional airplane, every conventional submarine, aircraft carrier, drone, helicopters, planes. They don't even have to shoot it. They just have to capture it or make it dysfunctional. And whatever that is, an airplane, ship, aircraft carrier, submarine, boats, whatever has like a microchip, like has specific elements, whether it be whatever gold or aluminium or copper or what have you, like microchip electronically, all right? It can be made obsolete, dysfunctional. So this is why this aircraft carrier, whether it was in the Black Sea, I don't remember. You can look it up, just look it up on Veterans Today or any other investigative journalists who reported on that and on the captured drones in Iran. And it wasn't a one-time incident, by the way. So the question is, how they did it exactly, I don't know. I cannot show you. I don't have the proof of the pudding. But the fact that it had happened, and there were reports on it, and there was a press conference, and but then somehow it got swept under the rug, and it wasn't much discussed after that. So my hope, my really realistic scenario, is that Iran is not going, they're not stupid. Iran is not stupid. Of course, they want to make sure that these things don't happen again, like the assassination of the top general Soleimani, who was, by the way, now it's confirmed, he was sort of lured into he went into a private, sort of not as a military operative, but as a private in a diplomatic position on a commercial plane, went to Iraq. Now, how they instigated it, how they somehow worked this thing out it was a deep State Department, military, Pentagon, whatever, somehow lured, because the Iraqi government wrote a letter to the Iranian government asking, the top general Soleimani to come sort of as a mediator, as a diplomat, as an expert, how to de-escalate the whole, situation in Iraq. So Iraq was actually asking for help from the Iranian sort of diplomats and experts and geopolitical analysts, what have you. And these are the people, right, that they have the knowledge, they have the expertise, and whatever you want to think, whatever you want to say about the Iranian government, the theocratic religious system, I'm not a fan of this. I'm not religious at all. So, and if you ask any Iranian, especially outside in Iran, they're going to tell you the same thing. They want peace. They really care about the Iranian people, the Iranian families, the Iranian friends and neighbors. They don't care about, the Iranian regime or what have you. They care about the Iranian people and, the Iranian culture and Iranian traditions and the Iranian thousands and thousands of years old Zoroastrianism and Mithraism, which a lot of the religions, by the way, came from. But again, you hardly find anything about it, even on the internet. So anyway, that's another story, whether that's, religious structures are involved in this, I don't know. So let's not get even into all these, really taboo topics. But what I assume I speak on behalf really of all, not only of all Iranians, but of all humanity around the world, at least the 99% on this planet. We all wish peace, right? So this is why do you think, I educate about Bitcoin? Why do you think I do so many podcasts with Bitcoin experts, Austrian economists, technologists, cryptographers, coders, developers, human rights activists? Why do you think I do all this thing? Because it's a root cause of all these symptoms we see, of all these effects, of all these consequences, of all these disastrous, destructive things going on. Wars, right? Inequality, inflation, crisis, murder, assassinations. Epstein didn't kill himself, right? Where do you think all this comes, right? So Epstein, Epstein, whatever his name is pronounced, was or maybe is still an intelligence asset, because we really don't know whether he's still alive or not. So, and by the way, Ghislaine Maxwell, his partner in crime, yeah, she was or is a daughter of the already dead, very famous English publisher, right? Maxwell, who died, by the way, under very weird circumstances on a boat or somewhere. So the guy who had really tight ties and connections to military intelligence organizations, amongst other Mossad, CIA, MI5, MI6, what have you. So yeah, so what they did, I guess, what they did is bring underage girls to high-profile power leaders, corporates, really extremely wealthy and powerful people, and filmed them or took photographs of them while they were having sex with underage girls, 14 years or younger, or what have you, or in that age range. So yeah, this is how they blackmailed all these people. And the question why Ghislaine Maxwell is still not under investigation or not taken into custody or what have you, we don't know where she is. Is she in Israel? Is she being protected by whom? We don't know. Why? So all these questions. So yeah. So let's go back again to these headlines. Futures tumble after Iran fires more than a dozen ballistic missiles at 2 U.S. targets in Iraq. Gold just broke through $1,600 per ounce, or fine ounce, as we say, I think in German. Yeah, we don't know. Trump, Putin and Assad are, I'm not sure. Yeah, they met somewhere in Damascus for what Putin wants to give Assad or Syria sort of the backup if things escalate, to discuss the strategies. Yeah, and gold spiked, oil spiked, Bitcoin spiked. The only thing that's plummeted, as I said, are stocks and the bond yields. It says Iran bombards Al-Assad air base in Iraq, home of U.S. ISIS Air Force. That's what it is, actually, right? Because, it's open secret. United States, or the military-industrial complex, has been setting up for years or decades, should I say, Al-Qaeda, and funding ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And now, it's a sort of a cat and mouse game, and now they want to, fund again the other group. So, so the whole, I guess, objective is to create as much crisis and panic and chaos, most of all chaos, within that Middle Eastern region, around Iran and within Iran. So this is why I say, with all my opinions and thoughts and and position towards this theocratic religious whatever regime in Iran, I'm not I think I care about the people of Iran, all right, the 80 million people, and also I have some family over there. So the question is, what's the objective here, really? I mean, isn't it peculiar that Iran is one of the very, very few countries where they still don't have the central bank, in Iran? Think of Libya. Think of other countries. So how they got rid of Gaddafi, because he was shortly before he wanted to introduce a gold-backed currency. Well, he was taken care of, sort of, as we say, right? And they got rid of him. And so this is, I guess, yeah, it's really sad. I don't know what to say. If things break out, I just hope it's gonna be sort of a point for a transition to a transition, a peaceful transition to a really evolutionary, you know, structural transformation. It's starting on a monetary level. That's why that's why I trust in Bitcoin. I understand Bitcoin. I know what it would do. I know that it would, cause the precipice from the old to the totally new civilization, human civilization. Yes, it will take time. People need to take self-responsibility. People need to open their minds, ask question everything. On a monetary level, economical level, financial level, structural level, social level, scientific level, technological level, on every level and dimension you can think of. And for me, it's not a miracle that could happen. It's the reality that could happen. But I think most people, to be honest with you, are not ready yet, even not to have a more prosperous, joyful, self-responsible, self-sovereign life. That would mean getting rid, abolishing, eliminating every nation state, every government, every central bank, every centrally controlled and abusive and exploitative and destructive entity. And that all starts with the central bank, beginning with the Bank for International Settlements. So if you want to, go dive deeper into this, go on my medium.com page, medium.com/@kevandavani, and read my articles about, the history and the facts in connection with the Bank for International Settlements. I wrote a bunch of, a series of articles. One series is called Why Bitcoin, Part 1 to Part 4, Bitcoin Reality versus Central Banks, the monetary root layer of Bitcoin, the logical precondition and framework for factual scientific discussion, and so on. And so I wrote a really well-researched, I did really a lot of research, investigative journalism, as you would call it, and we're really deep down the rabbit hole. And, as we say, the cat is out of the bag. Pandora's box has been opened, and the genie cannot be put back into the bottle. So, again, there are not many scenarios that are going to play out, realistically speaking. So, either we're going to have hopefully, it's just going to be, if any kind of war going to erupt, I hope it's going to be very short and limited, like a sort of maybe a couple of really only military installations. I hope nobody's going to be harmed, of course, but I guess that's war, right? So so I hope it's going to be limited and confined to a small space within, and then it's going to be over, or we're going to have really a full-blown war, and everybody's going to be involved. And because the people at the top, they don't care. At the very top, at the very, very top, they don't care, because they already have the underground bunkers or whatever you call them, where they can hide. But for how long, that seems to me a really interesting question. But the leading people, the military, the corporate, they all have their underground facilities. It's underground facilities, literally underground city, with transportation and everything. So I know it's a little bit out of the box now, but this is the reality. Where do you think all these trillions have been pouring into for decades? For at least half a century. To do all kinds of reversal engineering, to do all kinds of black budget technology, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, DARPA. And by the way, NASA is actually a military, is part of the military industrial complex, but it's sort of as a civil front organization to show to the public, hey, we're doing something, we're flying to the moon or whatever. going into space with with fuel, that is burnt, so sort of primitive combustion engines. So, after more than 100 years, you begin to ask yourself, like, really, we're still burning fuels, we're still like, having combustion engines, and rockets with burnt fuel. It's ridiculous. It's really hilarious if you think about it. And at every level, we have all kinds of advancements, but not in the transportation technology. Come on. So this is what I'm telling you. It's all been going on. The question is this going to be resolved and defended against the attacks? Whatever that is now. Who's attacking whom or whatever. But now, the U.S. military, or Trump as a puppet, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and all these military-industrial corporate intelligence complex, they want war. If they want war, they will find any kind of excuse. They will plant any kind of weapons of mass destruction, nuclear nukes. Iran doesn't need nuclear nukes, right? Because first of all, they have such an advanced, conventional military on one side, and the other side, on the other hand, they have a really highly developed and advanced defense technology, whatever you want to call it. All right. Again, magnetic or gravitational field, plasma, anti-gravitational, EMPs, whatever you have, but it's layers and layers of technological developments been going on for decades now. See, this is how much time. That's why do you think Iran hasn't been attacked yet? So everybody should ask themselves, after this, one of the top generals of the U.S. Military, said in an open discussion, like, it's on YouTube, he said, these are the, was it like Dempsey or no? Who was it? I don't remember his name, but like a top, military representative said this is, he was really amazed himself, was baffled that after he found out that this would have been the sort of the roadmap, like after Iraq, comes then Libya, and then Syria, and then the final stage, the final fig leaf, the final domino that would be falling is Iran, right? So after all these years, why hasn't Iran been attacked yet? So maybe it's time. Maybe everything. What I'm thinking? Maybe everything is coming together. The crisis, the negative interest rate policy, the debt and credit bubble around the world. We got at least $250 trillion worth of official global debt. But if you add the unfounded liabilities, derivatives, you get a number of approximately 1.8 to 2 quadrillion US dollars. I mean, debt. I mean, what is that? What is that? Who's going to pay that? I mean, that's a bubble. That's a real bubble. And, as they say, Bitcoin is going to be the pin that is going to make this debt bubble, this soap bubble, implode and suck all the everything, all the fiat money, the assets, the equity, the real value into Bitcoin. Because, again, Bitcoin is the hardest, scarcest, open, decentralized, immutable, censorship resistant, neutral, uncontrollable, unconfiscatable, unstoppable, what else? Divisible, fungible, peer-to-peer, unconfiscatable money that's ever been created. And it is absolutely limited. It's the scarcest money. There's only 21 million, period. And it's set in stone. And there's up to now, maybe a little bit more than 18 million Bitcoins mined. And the rest of the Bitcoin, the last Bitcoin, going to be mined in the year 2140. And so the next 1 million, I guess up to 20 million Bitcoin is going to be mined until approximately 2030, I guess, or something. And the rest going to be because of the difficulty adjustment, right? Because there's only every 10 minutes is going to be a block, and then plus minus, right? And so every here, this is the a recent price of Bitcoin. We got January 8th, 2020. the Bitcoin price is at 7,455 euros. You can calculate that yourself in dollars. I'm not sure what is in dollars, but anyway, in euros is so it's really climbed heavily again after especially these days, and especially after this escalation and geopolitical crisis in Iran, the Middle East, and yeah. So it's absolutely limited, and it's unstoppable. And now officials are admitting it; they cannot stop it. All right. Yeah, they could, of course, there will come a time when because Bitcoin is about the total separation of money versus state, versus government, versus nation state, versus central banks, everything. Bitcoin is just totally on itself and within itself. And that's why, yes, there will come sort of a conflict, a war, a resistance, a sort of a war or some kind of attack by nation states, by whatever, but by that time it's going to be late. It's already too late. After 11 years, it's too late. The cat is out the bag, the Pandora's box been opened, and what is so important that each and every one of us on this planet, 8 billion of us, we don't need 8 billion people. We don't need mass adoption. And I've been saying this for a long time now also, but what we need is a critical adoption rate. So the more people understand it, comprehend Bitcoin, the essence, the structure, the architecture, the purpose, the vision, the ethos of Bitcoin, the faster we will evolve, the faster we can evolve. So that means the more people, first of all, buy Bitcoin, hodl Bitcoin, self-validate, all of us. I'm going to talk about myself. I still don't have my own full node, but eventually a critical number of people on this planet will have full total self-sovereignty, meaning a full node running, hardware wallet, protecting privacy, the security, their traceability, with coin joining, coin mixing, what have you. So making the Bitcoin really fungible. And this is why the second and third and all these layers are being built on the Bitcoin protocol, so that we increase exponential by order of magnitude the number of transactions, the scalability, the speed of transactions. This is why, yes, Bitcoin as it is, it's not, you cannot compare it to PayPal, to credit card, to Visa, MasterCard, or what have you, or to your whatever banking transactions. That's why there's an on-chain. And then people are building really intelligent people that are really probably 1,000 times more knowledgeable than me, or 1,000,000 times more knowledgeable than me, especially technologically and scientifically, and even they understand how to build these structures, these platforms, these everything on top of this Bitcoin protocol. So yes, it's evolving at a rate, and we will look back into the year 2024 to year 2025 after the halving, after the next halving. As you know, after every 4 years there's a halving. So the next halving is going to be May 2020. That means the reward paid out per block to the miners that is mined is going to be reduced from 12 and a half. In the beginning was 50 Bitcoin, and now we have half to 12 and a half Bitcoin. So the next half is going to be 6.25 Bitcoin, and then the halving after the halving is going to be around 2024, where it's going to be again halved to around 3 point something Bitcoin. So so it gets scarcer and scarcer and scarcer, and with that we will see the stock to flow ratio, meaning what is there, what exists, and what comes additionally. So the inflation rate will go below, even, I think maybe even the next couple of years, below gold, and the stock to flow ratio will highly exceed that of gold in the next years and decades to come, right? So this is why it's such a hardest and scarcest money, store of value, medium of exchange, and then the progression level, the evolutionary progression to unit of account. Eventually we will have an ecosystem totally separate and disconnected from nation states, government, central banks, and all these, criminally, legally, politically untouchable, immune, centralized, privately owned structures and entities, beginning with the Bank for International Settlements. We will loosen up all these centralized structures that are, just sucking everything out of us, value, lives, pleasure, prosperity, equal opportunities. Nothing will ever be equal, but we will have, finally, with Bitcoin, we will have equal opportunity, we will have equal access. We can finally, this is my ultimate dream, that all these technologies, inventors, scientists who have been, either silenced, or they've been trying to patent something or whatever, it's all centralized again. And then all these patents and technologies and inventions, whether it be hydrogen engines or what have you, have been seized confidently in the name of national security in the last decades. Especially in the United States, over 5,000 patents have been seized and confiscated in the name of national security. You can look it up yourself. So and then look at, think back Tesla more than 100 years ago, right? So what happened to him, right? JP Morgan just asked him, probably, can you put a meter on it? He said no. So that's why, the whole project got crushed. One of the facilities got burned down. This is how it works, right? So so what I see, I have a vision. I see something, I have a vision way beyond Bitcoin, and the faster and the more cooperative, more interconnected we work together, we understand, we educate one another, we comprehend one another, we comprehend, the essence, the logic, the rationality of it, behind it, the ethos within and behind Bitcoin. The faster we can evolve, and the more freedom, liberty, and really joy and pleasure we're going to have. People will literally work less, go earlier in retirement. We will have technologies coming out with it, whatever that is. All these technologies that are being being feared or whatever, they are going to serve us finally, us humanity, and not like some kind of bullshit, AI cyberborg transhumanistic, civilization where we're gonna be controlled and or put microchips into our brains or what have you. We're going to have a human life, but these things are going to have an auxiliary effect, have a supporting effect. They're going to support it. They're going to serve us, right, within our structures. They're going to do works that, why should people do really immensely exhaustive work, if people can focus and do what they're really chosen to do, whatever that is: art, science, technology, educating children, what have you. So there's a vision, there's a much bigger vision I have personally. I don't know what other Bitcoiners have. Bitcoin is, most Bitcoiners, I think if you ask them, oh yeah, we're gonna have freedom, liberty, awesome economics, and blah blah. I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying, I've been trying to talk about this for a long time now. What do we really want to achieve with Bitcoin? What does it really mean? What is the real potential of Bitcoin? What does it really mean, on the brink of a world war, or on the precipice of a real evolutionary path to real evolutionary human civilization on every level you can think of? Not only monetary and people want to live in a citadel. Yeah, sure, that's part of the lifestyle then we can have, and we could have had probably many decades or even 100 years ago, if Tesla would have been allowed to develop this technology, if it would have been supported. But no, everything was stolen from us, everything was suppressed, people were murdered, scientists were murdered or silenced, or or suicided, probably, not probably, but definitely. If you look at the number of people, the scientists, inventors, engineers who either patented or not patented their stuff, and they got just killed or suicided with 2 bullets in the head, or just died all of a sudden because while they were eating a soup while negotiating a patent in Belgium or whatever, like the within the military industrial corporate complex, everything you can, again, Epstein didn't kill himself. Where is he? Where is he? Has anybody seen the corpse of Epstein? Anybody? I haven't. I don't know what happened to this guy. So he was an intelligent asset, period. All right. So, so if you can do something like that in the name of national security, then you can, then they can do probably anything. They can justify anything, genocide, systematic murder, systematic war, world war, assassinations, sanctions, embargoes. And who are the people who are going to suffer? It's the people. The people in Iran who suffer under these sanctions and embargoes, right? So let us really work together. That's why, my name is the Total Connector. It's about connecting the dots, connecting the structures, connecting the ethos, connecting the principles of real ethical, logical, scientifically, technologically based and peaceful science, technology, and structures on a social level, on a technological level, on a scientific level, on an economical level, on a productivity level, on an educational level, right? And not all that garbage we've been, pumped with, beginning in kindergarten, in school, universities. I mean, how much bullshit have we been fed up with all this Keynesianism, with all the history books, with all the biology, with all so much assumptions, so much lies, so much propaganda, so much, I would say that really 80 to 85% of all that shit we've been taught is bullshit. And yeah, within that structure, within that matrix that's been created for us and we've been born into, right? Yeah. Yeah, you can rationalize everything, you can justify everything, you can explain sort of everything. But have we really asked, what is an electron? I mean, what is the subnuclear things? What are we talking about? What particles? People in CERN. I know I'm jumping from one point to another, but it's like so grotesque. It's so hilarious. It's so ridiculous. It's so funny. And really, it's funny. If you think about it, it's a parallel universe. And all these movies have been shown like, you don't know what are they trying to tell us, Matrix and all this stuff. Like, are we really living? Even Elon Musk said, on multiple occasions, on his speeches, whatever presentation, he said something like that, paraphrasing, but you can look it up yourself. Like, he said, the probability that we are not living in a simulation or in a simulated reality is really going is less and less. So it's really marginal. That we are not living. So that means that the probability that we do live in a simulated reality is actually much, much higher. Whatever that is, whatever that similar reality means to you, yes, of course, it's physicality, it's matter. That's how we perceive it with our senses, with our biological, neuropsychopharmacological functions and features, and our biology, our physicality. But have we ever asked what it is? What it is? I mean, if we go then, okay, this is matter, but then we go into the if we go deeper down with the electron microscope, whatever, go deeper into the structure of the matter, of this matter. What is it? Like a molecular, atomic, or cellular on a biological level, but then what? We're going back, deeper down to the amino acids. Okay, then what? And then on a matter level again, going into the atomic, and then subatomic, and then nuclear, and then subnucleus, and then neutron, and then and then we're going what? Into the magnetical, gravitational field strength. So this is how we perceive it, but it's the field strength. What is it? Is it because this energy is so slowed down, so compacted for us? So is that why we perceive time? Like, is there time? So there's a lot of things going on right now that will help us trigger the curiosity. like a 7-year-old child. And that's how we should be. We should go back into our 7-year-old childhood, asking the questions which I had asked my dad, which, you know, he died a year ago on December 18th, 2019. And yeah, or was it 2018? You see, it's time flies by. See, but it's weird. It's weird. So we will have to ask more questions. We will have to question everything, and we will, you know, build up these parallel universes for ourselves. But it starts, of course, it starts on this materialistic, realistic, like tangible, touchable, existential level. And that begins with money, right? The money that has been so vilified, like money is the evil of all roots and blah, blah. No, it's not. It's because the money is being controlled for ages, all right? Especially the last 100 years with the creation, with the abolishment of the gold standard, with the elimination of the hard money that was the gold standard, you know, beginning in the, you know, shortly before 1940, shortly before World War I, you know, the decoupling from gold. So this is what I'm talking about. So we need a money that is open, borderless, censorship resistant, neutral, immutable, hardest, scarcest money, right? Limited in amount, but totally divisible. 1 Bitcoin equals 100 million Satoshis, but the 21 million never changes. Why? Because there's just too much. It's first of all set in stone. We got the game theory, we got the incentivization, and everybody that has that Bitcoin, who would want the value of the money being diluted, right? So nobody wants that. That's why there's a consensus rule. That's why it's so important that everybody each one of us who has Bitcoin, who hodls Bitcoin, has a full node running. And yes, we will all eventually have a easy, cheesy, intuitively to use, you know, user-friendly, plug and play, full node with a hardware wallet, coin joint, you know, and coin mixed, and what have you. So with that monetary root laying of Bitcoin, everything else would just evolve automatically by order of magnitude on a trajectory that is like that, right? As you can see on this chart, like on that. But that's just for the last few days or weeks or whatever. All right. If you look back, the total, like the hyper cycles, it really goes back and back. Like, I don't know, how far can I go with this? 30 months or what have you, right? So it's hyper cycles. It's just the 30 months. I mean, this is not even the, you know, from the very beginning, from the Genesis block or initiation of blockchain. So there's a logic to Bitcoin. There's a consensus. There's an ethos there's a bigger understanding and comprehension behind Bitcoin. It's not just some funny money. All right. This is what will truly liberate us, truly free our minds, free our emotions, free our intelligence, free our soul, free our lives, free our existence from the shackles of this modern, if you want to call it, slavery. Whew. All right. Sorry about this rant, but I don't know where to go. I just hope World War III is not going to erupt, is not going to be triggered by anybody, by anything. And I hope, I don't know, let's hope some extraterrestrial divinity, I don't know, extraterrestrial civilization is going to come and not necessarily like save us, but make all these, you know, conventional weapons, the nuclear weapons, the hydrogen weapons, all these destructive tools totally obsolete, or just, I don't know, do something. You know, and we all need to take self-responsibility. Self-responsibility means taking some kind of action that will eventually, you know, contribute something to this peace process that we truly wish in our hearts, in our souls, within our emotions. So Bitcoin is just the beginning, for Christ's sake. I wish we wouldn't ever talk about Bitcoins sometime in the future. We will just breathe Bitcoin, live Bitcoin, transact Bitcoin, develop on Bitcoin, research on Bitcoin, you know, build on Bitcoin,
Yeah, Bitcoin. Yeah, of course. Why do you think I'm so focused on Bitcoin? Because people are just too, distracted. If I, talk about this and that, I could talk about a lot of things which I've been researching in the last years and decades so intensely. Will it be science, technology, cover ups, um, uh, intelligence sources. I mean, I've had my context, I've had my sources. I researched the once internal document of the tobacco industry for my PhD dissertation, which I published in 2004, and then published a lot of books on it, on the one based all on the on testimonials, on whistleblowers, insiders, and on the ones in secret and confidential internal documents of the tobacco industry, which came to the surface through the court proceedings and master settlements agreements and insiders and whistleblowers. For 15 years, I did that, right? And did I achieve anything? Yes, I did. I did definitely. I did. I contributed my part to it. I gave a lot of research materials to the German Cancer Research Foundation in Germany, in Heidelberg. I gave a lot of information. I went on TV, I went on radio, I went public, I wrote books, I published with other co-authors who helped me, put it in a language that people understand, not too scientific, but what does it really mean, addictive enhancing technologies, studying of the psychology, emotions, and behavioral, patterns of children, right, of teenagers, because without kids and teenagers there is no cigarette market, right? So finally, in all public places and hospitality industry in Austria, finally now 2019 there's a smoking prohibition. I mean, it's finally 2019, all right? They finally, now we have 2020 soon, all right? No, we have 2000. See how time fucks with your brain. Anyway, so yeah, 2020, of course. I'm totally confused, right? So this is why the time, I think, is going by and by me faster and faster. It's like evolving at an incredible rate of speed. So buy Bitcoin, seriously. Read all those books by Gigi, by Safed Namus, by Mamudov, by Nick Szabo, Shelling Bitcoin, things called. There's just so many. Just follow me on Twitter, twitter.com /Keyvan Davani. Follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on YouTube, subscribe, follow me. Please support me in any shape or form. Write a positive review on any podcast platform that you're on, whether it's been Anchor, Apple Podcast, and public radio, and what have you. All right, just go on keyvandavani.com or go on the same website, thetotalconnector.com. Subscribe, follow me. Give me some kind of feedback. Support me in any shape or form. I would really need an ethical sponsor to do my investigative interviews, my Bitcoin interviews on all these Bitcoin conferences taking place in Hanoi, end of February in Vietnam, next fall, I think September, in San Francisco. There's so many conferences. I would really love to go and have face-to-face with professional equipment. I have podcast equipment, video equipment. I really want to do these interviews and really deliver you high quality content, high quality sound, video content, asking the right questions at the right place at the right time to these, extraordinary, talented, gifted Bitcoiners, enthusiasts, technologists, scientists, Austrian economists, cryptographers, coders, programmers, developers, investors. Let me do my job, please. Just help me, support me in any shape or form, whether with fiat. Go on my Patreon page, Keyvan Davani or the Total Connector, and just support me in any. You can support me on PayPal. You can support me on, you can support me by paying me to my Payoneer address on my Samurai wallet. So any Satoshis, any Bitcoin, any fiat, or whatever fiat, I don't care. I can still turn it to Bitcoin, to Satoshis, if I need to, but I need the fiat money for now. That's the transition, because some things you cannot buy with Bitcoin, right? Still. So please if you want to have high quality, if you want to support my work, my investigative, my research on Bitcoin, on Austrian economics, on science and technology, on for the evolution of mankind, for the evolution of all our children on this planet, please help me. All right, I would really appreciate it. Or give me some thumbs up. If you don't have any kind of money, subscribe, follow me, share and retweet, repost my videos, my comments, my tweets, what have you. All right. So, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for really supporting me, for watching my videos. And I hope to, I really wish you a happy new year. And I really wish all of us, I wish humanity total peace. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon again. Bye-bye.